The names they buried in Part 1. Enoch walked through 6 layers of heaven. He saw the infrastructure of the sky, the weeping angels in the 2nd heaven, the garden where the righteous dead are waiting. And at the 6th heaven, his guides showed him the commanders of the fallen ones, the Watchers. Tonight we find out what they did, why their names were the most dangerous words in the ancient world, and why 318 men decided you were never supposed to read them. The Descent. The angels, the children of heaven, saw the daughters of men and lusted after them. 200 Watcher angels descend to earth. They land on Mount Hermon. And there, the text reads more like a legal document than a myth. They swear an oath to each other. They know what they are about to do is forbidden. The oath is how they bind themselves to the choice anyway. Their leader is Semyaza. But the Book of Enoch does not stop at the leader. It names every single one of them: Azazel, Baraqiel, Kokabiel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Danel, Sariel, Armaros, Turiel, Jomjael, 200 names. This, not the story, not the sin, not what came after. This is why the text was buried. Those names were being actively used in early Christian prayer, not as enemies to be cast out, as intercessors, as protective powers invoked for healing, for blessing, for the safety of children and harvests. Communities across the early Christian world were praying to fallen angels because no one had told them those names were in a forbidden book. 200 names meant 200 alternatives to the one mediator the church in Rome was building its entire authority around. That could not stand. The Nephilim. When the Watchers take human wives, the text tells us exactly what follows. The offspring are the Nephilim, giants of extraordinary size who consume everything. First the food the earth produces, then the animals, then the people. The souls of the dead rise all the way to the gates of heaven and cry out, "Look at what is happening below." The 4 archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel, hear them. They bring the case before God. What follows is not a myth. It is a court proceeding. Azazel. Bound hand and foot, buried under desert rock, held until the final judgment. Semyaza and the Watchers, imprisoned in the valleys of the earth for 70 generations. The giants are destroyed, but their spirits are not destroyed. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies. The disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, still walking the earth, belonging to neither heaven nor the world of the dead, nowhere else to go. This is where evil comes from, in the Book of Enoch. Not metaphor, not symbol, cosmology. Early Christians had this map in their hands, and then it was taken away. After the judgment was handed down, the sentences declared, the names recorded, the earth left to carry what the Watchers left behind, Enoch was moved upward one final time. The 7th heaven. At the 7th heaven, the text stops trying to describe what Enoch sees, because it cannot be described. A throne. Armies of angels whose faces are fire, whose voices are like the sound of many waters. The seraphim. The cherubim. Forces so vast the word legions is not sufficient. Enoch says his body became like ice. His guides say, "Do not be afraid. Come further." He walks forward. And the text says, with a simplicity that lands harder than everything before it, God called him by his name. Why one church kept it. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church received Christianity in the 4th century, before Rome consolidated its canon, before the Council of Nicaea, before Athanasius issued his letter ordering specific texts destroyed. They were not in that room, so they kept what they had. The Ethiopian Bible has 81 books. Yours has 66. Those 15 books were not removed because they were fraudulent. They were not corruptions. They were not written by forgers. They were removed by a committee, in a palace, in 325 AD, and the Ethiopian Church, which was not at that meeting, simply kept reading. The Evidence Dead Sea Scrolls, 1947. Aramaic fragments of the Book of Enoch found at Qumran, all 5 sections confirmed. Original text, undeniable. The oldest sections dated to 300 to 200 BC, 3 centuries older than most of the New Testament. The Qumran community owned more copies of the Book of Enoch than almost any other text, more than Exodus, more than Isaiah. That is not a marginal document. That is forbidden scripture treated as central scripture, until the men who needed it gone sat down in 325 AD and made it gone. What this means. The Book of Enoch is the furniture. The Bible you know is the room after it was removed. Paul writes about principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, as if his readers already share a complete cosmological framework. A map. If you have read the Book of Enoch, you know exactly what he means. If you have only the canon of 325 AD, those references feel vague. Metaphorical, dramatic language pointing at something you cannot quite picture. That vagueness was not accidental. Remove the map. Make the territory unknowable, and people need an institution to navigate it for them. That is not coincidence. That is how authority works. The 200 names were the real threat, not the Nephilim, not the geography of heaven. The names of the fallen angels that early Christians were actively praying to, until 318 men decided that had to stop. Those men had a name for their meeting. The Council of Nicaea. Who was in that room? Who was not? What they voted on? And what Christianity looked like the day before they sat down. That is the next video. 318 bishops. One emperor who worshipped the sun. Every Bible on earth decided in one room. The Council of Nicaea is next. Subscribe to Gold and Ash.